Was Jesus Married? Chapter 2 by Ogden Kraut, first printed edition, February 1969. Chapter 2 Marriage and Celibacy. One of God's first laws and commandments to man was marriage. And from the Garden of Eden to the present time, God has continued to sanction and bless those who have honored this covenant. Marriage, solemnized by God in the beginning, was established with the divine acceptance for the purpose of propagation of the species, for mutual help, and for comfort and companionship. It was a union so sacred and spiritual in its nature that the man and woman were to become one flesh. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. Also Matthew chapter 19, verse 5. This inseparable union is spiritually illustrated in a similar comparison with the Church of Christ, or the Church of Messiah. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 30. And God has throughout history, given many laws and commandments concerning marriage, not restraining marriage, but rather restricting anything that would break the bonds of marriage via fornication, adultery, whoredoms, etc. Among these perils to marriage was celibacy, a state of being unmarried, which was never an accepted practice in ancient Israel, nor in early Christianity, but rather a doctrine of the pagans until it became incorporated into the apostate Christianity. By its nature, celibacy contributes little to the equality and character in man, much less in a woman, because fruitful propagation of the species is contributory. Barrenness in anything leads to extinction. Paul foresaw the apostasy of Christianity and warned the members of the church concerning these events. Celibacy, among other things, was a doctrine of devils. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. Interpolation of the scriptures became a fertile field for harvesting of alien philosophies and ideologies. This latter became the doctrinal law of the apostate church. Under the influence of Greek Gnostic thinking, and Roman traditional laws, the principles of Christianity suffered worse than those centuries of barbaric persecution. Superstition and useless ritualism replaced divine revelation. Then from among these amalgamated superstitions for the gospel came our time-honored tradition of history, which were so far from the original teachings that when some of the truthful remains of scriptures were found, it caused reformation. Celibacy had become such a dominant law in the prevailing church that it required hiding the scriptures from lay members. Indeed, in some cases, the laws of God had to be modified or thrown aside to corroborate with the later doctrinal innovations. Nephi, a prophet of Ephraim, had been instructed by an angel that such things would occur, And the angel of the Lord said unto me, Thou hast beheld that the book proceedeth forth from the mouth of the Jews. And he's talking about the stick of Ephraim here. He's talking about the stick of Judah here, that's mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 37. So you got two records, the stick of Joseph, or a record from the tribe of Joseph, and the stick of Ephraim, or a record from the tribe of Ephraim. Anyway, continuing. Thou hast beheld that the book proceedeth forth from the mouth of a Jew. And when it proceeded forth from the mouth of a Jew, it contained the plainness of the gospel of the Lord, of whom the 12 apostles bear record, and they bear record according to the truth